Today, the men and women of the 914th will pay special tribute to Col Lara B. Morrison upon her relinquishment of command. We will also welcome Col Joseph Contino as he assumes command of the 914th Air Refueling Wing. This morning, the 914th Air Refueling Wing is led by Colonel Abigail Kent and is organized into 3 groups. Commanding the Mission Support Group, Colonel Randall Roberts. Commanding the Maintenance Group, Lieutenant Colonel Keith McCrae. And commanding the Aeromedical Staging Squadron and Operations Group, Colonel Jeanette Moore. On behalf of the enlisted personnel, Chief Master Sergeant Gregory Locke, the 914th Civil Engineering Squadron Senior Enlisted Leader, will assist General Durham with today's ceremony. Ma'am, bring the wing to attention. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of the colors and the playing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing as Pastor Pete Jankowski delivers the invocation. Ma'am, put the wing at parade rest. The invocation will now be given by Pastor Jankowski.
Good morning, everyone. As you just heard, my name is Pete, and I'm a pastor at a local church here in West Seneca at the request of Col Joseph Contino, whom I first met 11 years ago in Columbus, Ohio. Joe, thank you for the honor of inviting me to pray at this momentous and distinguished changing of the command ceremony. Now, as I pray in my tradition, I invite you all to pray in yours. Eternal God and Heavenly Father, we invoke your presence here today, and with gratitude, we ask you to bless those who are gathered here to witness and to celebrate this changing of command, especially the men and women of the 914th Air Refueling Wing Gideon and all those who serve as part of this military community. As Col Lara Morrison comes to the end of her tenure as commander, we thank you not only for bringing her to Western New York, but also for her concern for her airmen, for her example as a leader, and for her loyalty to her superiors, her peers, and her subordinates. As she leaves this unit, we pray she does so with a greater understanding of the things you have revealed to her over her tenure. And as she moves on to her next assignment, we pray that she embraces her new charge in eagerness and confidence under your graceful hand. Now, as Col Morrison releases her command and all responsibility, authority, and accountability to our incoming commander, Col Joseph Contino, we ask you to grant him the gifts of wisdom, courage, and strength. May his time as command of the 914th Air Refueling Wing be one of blessing for him and for all the airmen he leads. May he always strive to assist every member of this unit to grow and develop so that each can be the person that you intended them to be. We know that what he will accomplish over his leadership ahead cannot be done apart from your grace. So we pray your Holy Spirit give him openness to be receptive to the strength you have for him to lead most effectively, clarity that the vision for his command will be executed faithfully, humility that the decisions he will make will be aligned with your word consistently, and direction to navigate the challenges he must face patiently. All so that this unit will exemplify unity and cohesiveness as they serve you and our country. And it's in the powerful and matchless name of Jesus I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Jankowski. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. The presiding officer for today's ceremonies is Brigadier General Scott Durham, Commander, 4th Air Force. The official party for today's ceremony includes Brigadier General Scott Durham, Col Lara Morrison, Commander, 914th Air Refueling Wing, and Col Joseph Contino, incoming commander for the 914th. Before we begin today's ceremony, we would like to extend a warm welcome to Col Morrison's fiancé, Jason Beethman, and retired Command Chief Scott Peters and his wife, Yvonne. Also to Col Contino's family, his wife, Mrs. Amy Contino, daughters Diana, daughter Frankie, and his son Vincent, who is currently stationed at Norfolk Naval Air Station and is unable to attend today. And we also extend a warm welcome to his mother, Margaret. We would also like to extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests in the audience today. U.S. Representative for the New York's 24th Congressional District, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. New York State Senate Minority Leader, 62nd District, Senator Robert Ort. Niagara Falls City Councilman Vincent Cawley. Niagara County Legislator, 6th District, Chris Vocchio. Niagara County Legislator, 4th District, Jeffrey Elder. Niagara County Legislator, 10th District, David Godfrey. Town of Wheatfield, Honorable Justice Gary Strankowski. Representing the office of U.S. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, Eric Glenn. Representing the office of U.S. Congressman Brian Higgins, Chris Fahey. Representing the office of New York State Assembly Member Karen McMahon, Joshua Rainey. Employer support of the Guard and Reserve Western Area Chair Maurice Nayland III. Commander, 107th Attack Wing, Colonel Andrew Carlson. Vice Commander, 914th Air Refueling Wing, Colonel Tom McElhaney. Vice Commander, 121st Air Refueling Wing, Colonel Andrew Powers. Commander, 121st Operations Group, Colonel Lance Kolstedt. Command Chief, 107th Attack Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Edward Stefik. And we'd like to extend our thanks to our longtime friends and partners of the Niagara Military Affairs Council. And last but not least, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to our brothers and sisters from the 121st at Rickenbacker. We appreciate you guys coming out today to support Colonel Contino. We would also like to recognize all of our other commanders, chiefs, community leaders, elected officials, and guests in attendance. We greatly appreciate you joining us here today. The purpose of a change of command ceremony is to provide the outgoing commander an opportunity to bid farewell to the men and women of her command and for the men and women to welcome the incoming commander. This ceremony provides the opportunity to witness a time-honored tradition dating back to antiquity. In the Middle Ages, it was not uncommon for the soldiers in the field to be unaware of who their commanders were. The formal change of command provides the troops an opportunity to witness the proceedings and actually see their commanders. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to introduce Brigadier General Scott Durham, Commander, 4th Air Force.
Thanks for that warm welcome. I take it the birds didn't get the quiet hour memo. I think we're disturbing their morning rest. To the 914th staff, I want to say thank you for putting on this event. When Laura said, "Hey, we're going to have a change of command on a Friday," I was like, "Yeah, well, that'll be different." So this is a little bit different for me. Usually we do this on a UTA weekend, and we have a pretty good showing. But calendars being what they are, Friday ended up being the event, and so a great turnout for a Friday event, I think, as well, and also from the community. Thank you for the support in putting this ceremony together. And so I'll start with the airmen. Thank you, airmen, for being here and being in formation and showing up. And so during today's event, I see there's a lot of aircrew members out there, and they're not used to standing up for long periods of time. So if you start feeling a little weak in the knees, just take a knee, move your legs around. You know, we don't want anybody falling out or getting hurt. That's not the intent of this formation today. To the distinguished members of the Niagara Falls Air Reserve Station community, to the congresswomen, the senators, all the representatives that are here, commanders, chiefs, thank you. Thank you all for coming out here. You are family, and you're leaders of this base and this joint community. We welcome you here today. Your support and presence of this vital mission reminds us how important it is that this community and this base exist. This capability would not be possible without the support in the community surrounding Niagara Air Reserve Base. Colonel Morrison, thank you for the significant achievements you've accomplished since taking command. Your work in focusing the wing on its deployment cycle, completion of a successful UEI, and preparation for the pending nuclear inspection has been outstanding. You also partnered with Amazon and local community leaders to develop innovative solutions ensuring zero impact to installation capabilities and activities. Plus, you initiated a new main gate project and the rehab of the installation's main fuel storage points. And you can see some of the construction going on out there on the flight line now. Your military service will reach 34 years in August, and I appreciate your passion for the job and your passion for your airmen. And it's great to see your fiance here, Lieutenant Colonel retired, Jason Beefman. Good to see you here with us today. Jason and Laura met while they were both at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and both share an enthusiasm for NASCAR, I understand, and Jason is enjoying his retirement, having served more than 20 years at Seymour Johnson and now staying busy flying with United Airlines. And while Laura's mom, Karen Anderson, isn't able to be with us today, I did want to express my appreciation to her for her service in the Washington Air National Guard and for how supportive she has been of Laura's service over the years. I'm told this is the only ceremony, other than Laura's basic training graduation, that she's missed in nearly 34 years. And so I hope that she's with us today. And so with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, General Durham. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Lara Morrison, Commander, 914th Air Refueling Wing.
So I'm going to start with, maybe I'm not going to start with this. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. That's all right. So I was going to start with the microphone to make a point. The walking microphone? Okay. So I'll do it to make a point. As probably most of you can imagine, it's been a busy couple of weeks, couple of months getting ready for this. So yesterday, we're here, and we're doing the rehearsal, and I was talking to Colonel Contino, and both of us commented on the fact that we hadn't written our speeches yet. And then we both also discussed, we're just gonna, I said it, I'm just gonna speak from the heart. I'm gonna move around, I'm gonna do, what I do, and I'm just gonna talk. What time do you think I woke up this morning? 3:45. In a panic that I hadn't written my speech. So I am going to not use this. I'm going to stand at the podium as we in the aircrew community have a saying, don't do anything dumb, dangerous, or different before you take a check ride. And this is one of my final command check rides. So that is going to go off, and I am going to stand right here and talk to you. And the other thing that I'm not going to do is I'm not going to look over here to this gentleman in blue. And I'm going to try very hard, as my wing knows, to get through this also without crying. I'm sure there's an over-under right now in the wing as to whether or not I can pull this off or not. So let's do it. My speech is going to be actually very short because most of you, especially those of you in formation, and I do echo General Durham's thank you for being here today. I know it's Friday, and I really do appreciate you being here and forming up. You guys look good. So you've been listening to me talk for the last 18 months, and today is not about me. It is about Colonel Joe Contino, and it is about the men and women of the 914th Air Refueling Wing. My chapter here is coming to a close, and as I've said before, it is much shorter than I expected it to be. As this wing and this community is very much family-based, I've been given great support when I told people that I had been given a job opportunity back home. So Jason and I are going home, and that is no small thing for us. So I thank each and every one of you that has given us your support while we do that. Speaking of support, and this is where I don't look over here, I do want to express my appreciation, my gratitude for the man that has been by my side for a very long time. He is my fiance, but we've been together for about 17 years, so we've known each other for a minute or two. And as my journey here is coming to an end, I couldn't have done it without him. Can't look at him? See? Gonna cry. So it's only been 18 months, but in those months I've made some wonderful friends and had an opportunity to lead an organization like no other in a community that is actually quite rare these days. Mr. Gordon, please express my thanks to Mr. Cooper and to all of you for all of the support and the partnership that NIMAC has shown me and the foundation that you've given me. Your organization continues to serve the men and women who serve, and I hear all the time how much the airmen appreciate the participation and the partnership and your support. Thank you. I also appreciate your organization personally, and please, again, pass my thanks on to Mr. Cooper and Holly. As the installation commander, so I wear two hats for those of you in the audience who don't know that. I'm an installation commander and I'm a wing commander. As the installation commander, I have wonderful installation partners. Colonel Carson, I couldn't have asked for a better person to serve on this base with, and I thank you for all that you and your wing have done for us. Thanks. Everyone knows that your boss can either make your job really easy or really difficult. General Durham, I appreciate the room that you gave me to maneuver as a wing commander, the guidance when I asked for it, and the support that you've given me over the last year. You have the largest NAF in the command, and I can only truly imagine how busy you are. But you were always responsive. I'd make a phone call or send an email, and you were right there. When I just had a question or I needed guidance. Time is our most, at this level, and it's especially at your level, time is the most precious commodity that you have these days, and you gave me yours when I needed it. Thank you. To the men and the women of the 914th Air Refueling Wing, thank you for the opportunity to be your commander. Next month, as General Durham did state earlier, marks 34 years of service. I've been in 4 wings in the NAF, 3 of them as a commander. So that is to say that I've been to a place or two, and I can tell you with authority that this is an amazing organization. Support from the community is key. Thank you for being here. All of us from the 914th really appreciate it. Having a good NAF commander and a good AFRC commander is a good thing, but your true success comes from you, each and every one of you. You care about the jobs that you do, the service that you provide to our country, and the way that you care for each other. I am proud to have been part of your organization, and thank you again for allowing me the honor of being your commander. All right, Joe. You know some of the organization that you're about to command, and we've had a few talks about the job. So I'm going to end with stating the obvious, because I think it bears repeating. And the truth of it lies in the power of the people in this wing, in the enlisted, in the officers, and the civilians that serve our country and care for each other. This is the most rewarding job you will have in your career. While there will be days that seem very complicated, he's called me a couple of times and said, "Oh my gosh, how do you do this?" It's going to seem a little complicated. It's actually very easy. Take care of the wing and the airmen, and they will take care of the mission. They do it better than anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Morrison. Ladies and gentlemen, the men and women of the 914th Air Refueling Wing would like to pay a final tribute to Colonel Morrison by honoring her with one final salute. Ma'am, give the wing attention and present arms. Ma'am, give the wing order arms. Ladies and gentlemen, Brigadier General Durham.
Thanks, Laura. That was great. Perfect timing. You guys thought you were through hearing me talk. But I know it took some effort to make it here today, so I want to make sure that what I give you is worth your money for the price of admission here. Joe, here we go. Colonel Contino, you've had quite the career, and it's about to get even better. From your early days as an A-7 Corsair ammo troop and a KC-135 boom operator with the Ohio Air National Guard to most recently the commander here of the 914th Operations Group, you've demonstrated a passion for service and the ability to lead from the front. Nowhere else will you have a greater ability to motivate and influence airmen's lives than as a wing commander. Your work alone in introducing the operations group to the 801X mission and finding innovative solutions to vexing problems, such as locating lodging and recreational equipment to furnish the alert facility, has been exceptional. Notice I use the word exceptional. It's really not good or bad, it's just exceptional. It's wonderful to see your wife, Amy, of nearly 27 years here, as well as your family with us today. Amy runs the family business, Das Coffee House von Frau Burkhardt. Probably destroyed that. It's a German coffee company and bakery located just south of Cleveland, Ohio. Joe and Amy met while she was assigned for 9 years as an intelligence analyst at the Rickenbacker Air National Guard Base. And together, Joe and Amy have 3 children, Diana, Vincent, and Francesca. Diana is a beautician residing back home in Columbus. Vincent, as mentioned before, just recently graduated from A school with the U.S. Navy at Pensacola, is an information systems technician, and Francesca is entering her final year at Bloom Carroll High School, where she is active, not in the drill team, but in the color guard, right? Okay. She cannot play the saxophone, that's what I understand. And then we also welcome today Joe's mother, Margaret, and she is very active in her church, offering support to parishioners and leading rosary prayer sessions and supporting the annual Italian festival. Sadly, Joe's father, Bob, is no longer with us, but I did want to mention his influence over Joe as a result of his time as a captain in the Civil Air Patrol and as his work as an engineer for North American Rockwell, where he influenced the development of such storied aircraft as the XB-70 Valkyrie, which is one of my favorite airplanes, the OV-10 Bronco, and the B-1 Lancer. I'm sure Joe's with us today in spirit. I also want to thank some of Joe's family members and friends who were not able to make it here today, but have joined us online. These include Joe's brother John Contino and his wife Tammy. John was a weapons loader in the A-7 Corsair, the A-10 Warthog, and the B-52. Also those from the 121st Air Refueling Ohio Air National Guard, Colonel Contino's old unit, who are here today. These members include the Vice Wing Commander, Colonel Andrew Powers, Ops Group Commander, Colonel Lance Colstead, 166th Air Refueling Squadron Commander, Lieutenant Colonel John Tula, Chief Van Dodge, and numerous other members of the 121st. Welcome and thank you for being here, if not physically, then virtually as well. I just noticed the wing's still at attention. You guys at ease. Joe, you may have heard me say these words before, but I'll emphasize this message to you again. And well, maybe not so much for you, but for all of your new airmen and commanders and supervisors in attendance today, and those that will watch this later, I'm sure, with rapt attention, to hear and understand the weight of responsibility that lies with all commanders, and especially a wing commander. Let me talk a minute about the task of a commander. And you've heard me say this over and over, focus on the fundamentals. Our fundamental doctrines are captured in the AFI 1-1 and 1-2. My charge to you is to follow the principles of these AFIs. These words, paraphrased for time, come straight from our basic leadership AFIs. Under Chapter 4, Commander's Intent, out of the 1-1. With a clear understanding of the intent of an assigned mission, commanders have the responsibility and authority to act and to trust subordinates to complete their assigned missions. And to that end, all commanders will, at all times, display exemplary conduct, establish a healthy command climate, and have a propensity for action. Deliberately execute all assigned duties and responsibilities to include all aspects of executing the mission, leading people, managing resources, and improving the unit. Apply the tenets of effective command and control as defined in Joint Pub 1, Doctrine for the Armed Forces of the United States, and Air Force Doctrine, Volume 1, Basic Air Force Doctrine, which should increase the ability of commanders to make sound and timely decisions and enhance unity of effort. Again, my advice to you is to focus on the fundamentals. Our airmen deserve nothing less. We must respect their time by providing them value-added, applicable training opportunities, and we must respect their sacrifice by paying them fairly and rapidly and reimbursing them in a timely manner. We must honor their service by giving them timely and constructive feedback in order for them to grow and become better people and better airmen. We are all works in progress. We evolve to be better versions of ourselves, and by challenging ourselves and those around us, we all become better. It applies to all aspects of the whole person, be it physically, mentally, or spiritually. If you hold yourself true to that ideal, then so will your airmen. If you are current and present for them, they will be current and present for you. We are a ready force, ready now and transforming for the future. Additionally, you guys thought that was the end. We now have a new commander. Well, he's not so new anymore, but General Healy, one of the first things that he did was he came up with a task order. Read it and execute it. Simple as that. It lays out 5 tasks for you and your wing that I will briefly cover. Task 1, build and implement a detailed annual training plan for all subordinate units that includes all required exercise participation, UTA schedules with attention to training objectives, and a deliberate plan to utilize all annual tour for all assigned members. Task 2, build and implement a detailed annual flying hour plan, which identifies both on and off-station flying activity, articulating the average duration of the sorties, turn times, and required configurations, and identifying monthly O&M days. Track and measure and execute against your annual plan. Task 3, build and execute the annual manning plan. Identify and monitor overages by unit, level units manning across the UMD quarterly, and advertise 100% of the vacancies and overages within RMVS and audit your UMD against assigned rosters monthly. Task 4, build a wing fin plan, which is the annual financial strategy. By month, plan to execute your reserve appropriation, your annual tour, and your inactive duty training in order to meet readiness goals and account for potential continuing resolutions operations, which we all know will probably happen this year. Organize requirements into basic categories: unit health, long-term orders, exercises, and then other unit discretionary funds. Identify funds to support travel, operations and maintenance, reserve manning periods, and then also fund your STP2 and STP1, which is seasoning training for those of you that don't understand the lingo. Seasoning training to get us mission qualified for whatever AFSC we're in, by name and by unit. And task 5, build and implement and maintain the appropriate control measures to establish oversight of wing upgrade and certification training. Direct each unit to detail within the annual training plan each goal for the UTA for upgrade training by name. And then each month, closely track progress and training record documentation for airmen in the upgrade process. That's a lot. And you're responsible for all of it. Congratulations. My advice to you airmen, work it. This is the best side hustle you will ever have. We're all about the side hustle, and I can tell you as a reservist of 20 plus years, this has been a great adventure, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. To that end, love what you do. You are part of an amazing organization of volunteers that make a real difference in the balance of power around the world. You are a part of that. Embrace it. Most importantly, make a difference in that which you can affect here in Niagara. Don't be distracted by the noise and the turmoil occurring around you in the political realm, in the financial realm, economic realm. None of those things we have much control over. But what we do have control over is right here. Your job, what you do, and how fulfilled you are with your job that you do here. Do the best job you can, that you can do at your assigned duty. In short, do the work, both for yourself and for your job specialty. Volunteer as much as you want and as much as I can afford to pay you. Volunteerism produces operational mission capability, and that's the reps and sets that General Minahan talks about. Missions produce readiness, and readiness produces operational decision space for commanders, both at this level and nationally. And more importantly, what the Reserve of the Air Force was designed to provide, and that is for the long-term strategic depth of our nation's defense. And Joe, I'll leave you with just a few words of wisdom, not my own. I've plagiarized these. Build a trusted team of leaders and let them lead. Work for cause, not for applause. Live life to express and not to impress. And don't strive to make your presence noticed, just make your absence felt. Are you ready to take command? All right, let's do this.
Ma'am, bring the wing to attention. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the change of command.
How is the order?
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force Headquarters, 4th Air Force, Special Order Number 23-007. Col Lara Morrison is relieved from duty as Commander, 914th Air Refueling Wing, and Col Joseph Contino is assigned as Commander, 914th Air Refueling Wing, Niagara Falls, New York, effective 7 July 2023. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Members of the 914th Air Refueling Wing will now render their first salute to their new commander, Col Joseph Contino. Ma'am, give the wing present arms.
Present arms.
Ma'am, give the wing order arms and parade rest. Ladies and gentlemen, Col Joseph Contino, Commander, 914th Air Refueling Wing.
I have a few words. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of this, but this really isn't about me. This is about you, all of you out there, 914th Air Refueling Wing, and how I can serve you. Before I get to the buts, let's do the thank yous. First, I thank God. Thanks for putting me in this position so I can help others, and for putting up with me for 52 years. My wife, Amy, sort of like God, in a sense. Thanks for allowing/tolerating this position so I may help others, and for putting up with me. This started many years ago as Senior Airman Burkhart and Senior Airman Contino. I love you. Diana, Frankie, and Vin, thank you so much. I love you more than you know, and take notes for the next 10 minutes. Mom, thanks for instilling in me the values necessary to strive for greatness while having a healthy fear of God and you. I'll get to that word fear later in the speech. As for my dad, I miss you, and I wish you were here to see this. Dad, we did it. You were with me when this all started, 39 years ago, sorry. In Squadron 1000 of Civil Air Patrol at Rickenbacker, at that time, Strategic Air Command Base. You were solely responsible for planting these seeds in me. As a child, bombarding me constantly with blueprints or posters of XB-70s or B-1s or OV-10s, T-2 Buckeyes, all the aircraft that he worked on. And along with numerous indoctrination trips to the U.S. Air Force Museum in Dayton. Those of you that haven't been, I recommend it highly. My opinion, it's better than the Smithsonian, but that's for a later. To my brother John, you taught me the very important lesson of survival. All those times you tried to smother me when mom and dad weren't looking, I have survived. Thank you. To Rickenbacker, Eddie Rickenbacker, teaching me the mission is always first, and that fear carves, chisels, and shapes everyone when it counts. To those that shaped and formed 19-year-old Airman Basic Contino, Master Sergeant Bob Derryberry, Chief Jack Bishop, Chief Bob Ruffett, Chief Dick Grind, Chief Tom Guard, the late Master Sergeant Doug Welsh, Tech Sergeant Tracy Kawasaki, who was also my commander in Civil Air Patrol. Lieutenant Colonels Jim Baker, Mike Lorenz, Gary Render, Craig Ebajay, Tom Pape, Chuck Underwood, Whit Tonneson, Tom Schulte, Andy Knapp, Barry Pyre. Colonels Zane, Zeb Brown, Ron Albers, Dick Sight, Jim Pfaff, John Earhart, and Gary Beebe. Generals John Smith, Gordon Campbell, Tom Bocci, Mark Auer, and Scott Rice. To those that shaped me as an officer when I was a young lieutenant, Chief Hank Palma, Senior Master Sergeant Paul Miller, Lieutenant Colonel Rich Galante, Mark Gorley, Mark Hancock, Carl Herrig, the late Carl Herrig, Lieutenant Colonel Steve Rowley, Mark Cunningham, Chief Master Sergeant Jeannie McLaughlin, thank you. To my colleagues through the years that have put up with me and that are responsible for all of this, Colonel Lance Kolstedt, thank you. Colonel Scott Learden, thank you. Phil Shira, Casey Keebler, both Lieutenant Colonels, Chris Zwetzig, who's here today, thank you. Chris Swegan, Kathy Miller, Brian Dumont, Kevin K. Dog Smith, Rod Jones, Alan Klein, Barb Barch, who's also here with us, thank you, Colonel. Dave Sorrell, Kevin Black, Josh Hanna, Barry Anderson, Steve the Mule Nevelos, Brian Mott, and Andy Mossman, who could not be with us today. A.K. Klein, thank you for being here, and his beautiful wife, thank you. To the 914th OG, I will miss you. My leadership team, Lieutenant Colonel Mowers, Lieutenant Colonel Tracy, Lieutenant Colonel Mono Monahan, POTUS, who's at United Training right now, my deputy, CJ File, thank you for keeping me out of trouble. Siobhan, who was my CSS, Sas Cisnowski, I don't know if she's here, but thank you. The story how we met is long, but I heard the general heard it yesterday in the car, so I won't get into that. Where's Pike and Crowbar? They're somewhere. Crowbar, thank you for everything, getting this together, and Kermit, thanks for putting everything together, I appreciate it. To the Air Force Reserve Command, institutionally and historically has always believed in me. Even though I am what is known as a guard baby, it is AFRIC that believed in me as a Staff Sergeant Boom Operator to send me to OTS and UPT to fly Hercs. And now you saw in me the knowledge and leadership you needed for this unit and this mission. I thank you. General Durham, Pennington, Colonel Magnuson, Colonel McElhaney, T-Mac, Colonel Morrison, thanks for your guidance and for believing in me. People like me, I realize, are not always easy. or the easy pick or the safe pick. I am anything but milquetoast, and I am thankful that, sir, you, ma'am, you, sir, you, get me. A lot of people don't. Thank you. AMC A10N, Hua. Mark Exley, Colonel Jen Moore, Lieutenant Colonel Brent Chisholm, Lieutenant Colonel Emily Kubasek, Dave Dye, Tac-Am Bob, Bach, Nate Barr. The list goes on. I'm listing people, but I thank you. They gave me the knowledge base and the courage and the stamina to do this job that we call the nuclear mission in the KC-135. Thank you. To Andy Danger Powers, whoa. This all started in plans at the 121st Air Refueling Wing, where I was kind of told to go up there and shut up and to help you as the tactics officer. I learned everything from you as far as this mission set is concerned. Thank you. I appreciate it. To Curtis LeMay, first, sir, I'd like to say I'm sorry. They have ruined your masterpiece of peace through overwhelming force by believing in the fool's gold of humanity. You are a realist in terms of long game expectations of the human condition, and he planned accordingly. If you were alive today, sir, I am sure you would think we are hanging by a thread of underwhelming force, barely saved daily by the wild card known as the U.S. Navy's nuclear submarine fleet. Thank you. I got this for you and will preach your gospel until I'm told to leave or have the unfortunate opportunity to tell them I told you so. Now to the buts. I'm almost done. This leads me to the word fear I mentioned earlier. Fear, it's missing. It's missing in our force, it's missing in our culture. Hard times make hard people make good times make weak people, and weak people make hard times, as the saying goes. When I was a boom operator at the tail end of SAC, it had just become AMC when I was sent to training. We had 800 B-52s on active duty standing alert as the overwhelming force of deterrence for this country. Right now we have about 75. And we had tankers on hard alert everywhere, probably in the number of 500 to 600. People operated in those days with a healthy dose of fear. I saw it with my own eyes as an airman. They went to work or they sat alert 24/7 thinking, because of the flaws of humanity and because of the weapons that we have created, this could all happen at the drop of a hat. People went to work every day thinking that. This is a fear that cannot be mimicked or manufactured. That has all but completely eviscerated from our culture. To my colleagues, we have to operate now in the environment where we are looked upon by many government entities that make decisions. As a military branch, we're looked upon when money is being dealt out as any other government agency. Department of the Interior, Department of Transportation, the Post Office. We're all given a piece of the pie, and we all fight politically for those pieces of pie. Accordingly, we compete equally with the institutions with those institutions for funding. Allow me to be your reminder, 9/14th, that we are not the post office. If all of you were to get into a DeLorean with a flux capacitor and go 88 miles an hour, and you set the destination for December 6, 1941 at Pearl Harbor, the following day, with what you know now, 353 Japanese aircraft the following morning were to attack Pearl Harbor. You just got out of the DeLorean, you're asking who to talk to, you have important information, what do you think they would say to you? Escort this person off the base. Like many times before in the storied past of this great nation, in peacetime, the factory default is to become overly bureaucratic and hyper-focused on the minute. We get easily distracted by what is not important. In those times and in these times, we are a fighting force, become far more litigious. As a fighting force, we have become far more litigious at times than we are lethal. I will do what I can, like last week's successful EWO ACE exercise, mission accomplished. This proof of concept highlights the ability that an agile combat nuclear element as small as one B-52 and one KC-135 with a full maintenance complement with C2 and ops can be effectively and very quickly forward deployed to any one of the prior 74 Strategic Air Command bases. Griffiths is only 30-minute flight from here in Rome, New York, who has a combat-ready munitions storage facility. We can do that and conduct all 801X nuclear operations at the drop of a hat, essentially forcing any peer adversary to plan and consider such a perplexing and unpredictable force structure. In a sense, when you're trying to scare a bear away, it'd be making yourself look as big as you can. To every airman of the 914th Air Refueling Wing, I am here for you. This isn't about me at all. This is what I will do for you. I will be a manager of energy, a time traveler when I need to be. If I have to teach you about the past or tell you what's going to happen in the future, I will. I will also be a dealer of hope. I will provide you resources. I will provide you a mirror when you need one, and I will provide you top cover. I will always ask 3 questions. What is happening? What isn't happening? And what can I do to affect change? Those 3 questions you should also be asking. General, I heard the warning of the knives out when someone takes a job like this, and I will resist at all costs the dreaded catatonic state of self-preservation mode that a lot of people go into. I won't do that. I know General Minahan says to run with scissors. I will more likely be running with a protractor and a compass. Both sharp and dangerous, but also calculating and always looking for the angle. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Contino. At this time, a bouquet of flowers will be presented to Colonel Contino's wife, Amy, daughters Diana and Frankie, and mother Margaret. With those gifts, at this time we would like to recognize Colonel Contino's family and friends for their continued support of the 914th Air Refueling Wing. We look forward to your continued presence in our Niagara family. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join us in the singing of the Air Force song, and then remain standing for the departure of the official party. For reference, the words are on the back of your program. Ma'am, bring the wing to attention. Thank you, General. This concludes today's ceremony. We invite everyone for a tour, and we have a reception immediately following in the maintenance break room behind through the double doors in the back of the hangar. On behalf of Brigadier General Scott Durham and Colonel Contino, thank you for attending today, and we wish you a pleasant day. Troop Commander, dismiss the wing.